Mindset, 4 p.m. BST. In the room with us today, we've got Egle's with us, Jana, Liran, Hirschkorn, Anna is here, and so is Stephanie. I'm going to share to the groups, guys, but starting with Egle, do you want to just do a quick introduction on yourself, please?
Yes, I'm a 3-year Amazon seller doing about 3 million a year. I've been entrepreneurship is absolutely a very, very big personal growth journey. That includes about nutrition, because I firmly believe that, nutrition can even make or break your entrepreneurship journey. So that's shortly about me.
Cool. Jana?
Hi, I'm Jana. I'm the owner of Wild Tea Translations. We are the biggest Amazon dedicated translation agency out there. And I've been on basically all regimes known to human mankind ever since I've known for myself. And I've always been a big fan of fasting, detox, and everything. I just think it really helps you clear your mind, and you can definitely maximize on your potential and the processes and everything. And I can't wait to talk about this today.
Cool. Up next, Liran, friend of the show. Obviously, a lot of people know who you are, but please indulge everyone.
But do you know who I am, really?
Do you know who I am? I don't know.
Do I know who I am?
I don't think you do. We'll try
I'll talk a little bit just about the fasting stuff. I've done also, you said, all kinds of diets under the sun. For a year and a half, I did a raw food diet, traveling the world country with David Wolf. I've done keto and kind of still do low carb and fasting, and so very much into health. And then I also have an Amazon ads agency and sell on Amazon, and now a regular guest on the Mindset Sunday Danny McMillan show.
Cool. Anne.
Hello, my name is Anne. I am an Amazon seller and a mom of 2. I live in Costa Rica, and I have been fasting since my daughter stopped nursing. I really don't believe in any other diet. Fasting is the only thing that I do, which is basically because it means I don't have to worry about feeding myself breakfast.
Cool. And new to the show, this is your first time. Steph, do you want to let everyone know who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Stephanie. I've been an Amazon seller for about a year and a half. I'm a 12-year diet crazy veteran, so I've done them all at one point or another, and I have an ebook coming out soon about it. Fasting is definitely the only thing that is sustainable, that shows great health results. I'm super into it. What else? I've recently started a brand in the nutraceutical space based on my experiences in dieting and health and wellness. So I'm happy to be here.
Cool. I just want to explain to the audience, none of us are doctors or scientists. This is all based on our own experiences. So don't start trolling us in the comments to say that we told you to go and starve yourself and all this kind of stuff, because fasting isn't starving. But there are people out there. All we can say is you need to make up your own mind about your choices with your life, your diets and everything else. This is only stuff that is what we've discovered and worked for ourselves. You're more than welcome to try at your own risk. So I'm going to quickly start. So my current rituals at the moment, which is including fasting, is cold showers, high repetition weights as I awake in the morning, water, and fasting, which has been generally running anywhere between, not today on the weekend, but generally what I've been focused on as of last week was from my eating window is 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then I'll fast for the rest of the time. So effectively it is after the show. Although today I broke my fast earlier and I tried to do bulletproof coffee. I got brand new from the farmer's market, got brand new cold pressed. See, I've got brain fog here. Yeah. From the farmer's market, I got cold pressed organic coconut oil, and for some bizarre reason that triggered brain fog. So when I test things out, I test on a Sunday, so it doesn't take me out the game. So today has been a bit of a slow day, slow brain day, but generally, yeah. So fasting for me has been paramount for me to get stuff done, and also allows me to avoid things as much like brain fog, which I suffer from quite a bit unless I'm super disciplined with food and intermittent fasting plays a massive role in that. Going to you, Egle, what is your current regime?
I'm doing about the same. I'm doing intermittent fasting until 12 o'clock at lunchtime. So I'm having basically 2 or 3 meals per day only. And I stop eating around 8 o'clock in the evening. So it's about 8 hours a window that I eat. And why I do that is that I had previous experience. Like, I'm a woman, you're a man. And for a woman, you know, we have estrogen and we have, like, you know, evolutionary, not instinct, but like our body is supposed to like sustain life. So for us, fasting could be messing up with estrogen, and that's what happened to me. Actually, I was doing regular fasts before, and then I messed up my estrogen. So I tried like 7-day fasts and things, and you know, they were all wonderful. My skin was wonderful and my brain was really clear, but my body didn't like it. So I needed a way out, and now not feeding myself breakfast and just having black coffee actually is super, super easy. And I love how much time I actually save from making food and eating food and cleaning after myself. And it actually gives me, you know, it takes you about 4 to 5 days really to not miss breakfast. Otherwise, I was just a breakfast junkie. Like, breakfast was my most important meal. I couldn't skip it. But if you give yourself about 4 or 5 days, you don't even miss it because your stomach's just not going to work. And if you just have black coffee or bulletproof coffee, it's just, I don't know, it's just coffee is what you need. And you can start eating around 12. And the clarity I have in the mornings, my peak performance time is morning. So digesting takes a lot of energy. I'm not taking my body to a situation where it needs to digest food and perform really, really well. I give my body opportunity just to perform really well, just with a kick of coffee, of course, too, but no food over there.
Yeah.
And you know, that regime actually keeps the estrogen in a control. So me as a woman, this way of fasting works much better than, you know, keeping myself away 3 to 7 days from the food that guys actually could benefit from.
So you're working to the needs of your body to get as much high performance from it as possible. Jana, what about yourself?
So right now I'm on intermittent fasting. I've been doing that for about 2 months now, and I stop eating after 4 p.m. and I start eating at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I do like 18-6. And I'm quite comfortable with that. I've never had any problems, as what Egle was talking about. Never had any estrogen problems, hormone, other problems like cholesterol, nothing. And I think that because about like 10, 12 years ago, I started doing the juicing, actually fasting or detox. The first time I did was 6 days. I thought I was gonna die. I just thought it was like, this is it. Like, I was like shaking, and you know, they tell you like you can take some honey if you feel like very weak, or you can eat like you know, a handful of almonds, like in order not to, you know, just faint in the middle of the street. But that's definitely not gonna happen to you. Just like your body's in shock, and then like after day 3, you're gonna get used to it. So after that, the first time I did that was about like 10 years ago, and now I regularly do that like every 3 months. I do anywhere between 12 and 18 days on juices only. And that honestly is like something that makes my mind so super clear. My focus is sharper than when I take the mushroom coffee or any other, you know, supplements. It just really helps me like so much. And I always feel hungry, but it's not like that, you know, like when you're haven't eaten for like 12 hours, it's not that same way of hunger. It's like you're hungry, but you're kind of constantly hungry. So it's okay. You know, it's not like the end of the world. But honestly, what I think everybody can do it. It's just like the matter, like if you can do it like in your head before you start. Because sometimes when I was about to do the juicing, like if I was not 100% sure that I want to get through with this, like this time, I would, you know, stop at day 4, because I knew in my mind that I wasn't ready for it before it. But it's all honestly, it's like the most like healthy like regime I do for myself. I take I get my blood results before and after, like about 1 month after, and they're always better. And after juicing, I do the raw vegan diet for as long as I can. And that's really, really amazing. Just the problem is that I live in Serbia, and there are not that many raw vegan or even vegan restaurants. So it's kind of hard to find something like I'm used to like making food. Like I bought like a dehydrator and stuff like that. And so I had to kind of manage myself, but I really think it's a very healthy thing. And of course, I'm not a doctor. I never went to a doctor to to tell me to do juicing. But this method, it's close to Dr. Broyce's method. And people who are sick with cancer or any other, very difficult sickness, they do it because like the sick cells got eaten by the healthy cells. And this is how you can, like really build your immune system and like lower your cholesterol and so many good healthy benefits. And especially for me, it's very useful because I got like, but my mind kind of gets sharper when it comes to business. And I just like doing that a lot.
Makes sense. And over to you, Liran.
Yeah. So let's take a step back for a second. Okay. Why do we want to fast, right? Why do we want to eat healthy? I think we're talking about Mindset Sunday. You want to ask yourself the question, because I think so many of us might be chasing losing weight or looking good or fitting into this clothing or whatever, when I would challenge you to say you should chase being healthy and being mentally clear and being physically fit. And that if you can be mentally clear and if you can challenge yourself to fast, even for a 24-hour period, or even from one day of doing, 16-8 or something to that effect, you'll be able to challenge yourself in other areas of your life and deal with and overcome other challenges. So I think the first thing you want to step back is like, what's my ultimate goal? Is it just to lose weight so I don't feel fat, which is fine. I think that's good. But then you should also take a step back and look at all the other benefits that you might get out of fasting beyond just like how you look in the mirror. And also to realize for people that are looking to lose weight, that losing weight or being fit is like 90% nutrition and 10% exercise. So I lost in 2018, I lost 30 pounds, and I did it not exercising at all in like the first 25 pounds. I did it just on diet, just on keto, just on fasting, just on changing my habits. Right. So, so my basic diet now is, I did, I guess, keto very aggressively for maybe a year and a half, like very strict, checking my ketones, testing my blood, doing all that. Now I'm more like, I would say, low carb. I don't test myself for ketones, etc. But some principles that I do try to follow are like 3 hours before bed. I try not to eat anything 3 hours before bed. And in the morning, generally in my first few hours of being awake, 3-4 hours of being awake, the only thing I'll have is coffee. And I think if you want to get better fit mentally and physically, if you follow just a few principles, like, not eating 3 hours before bed, waiting a couple hours in the morning before you eat, because that's the time your body really needs to like eliminate, and also not combining foods. Like if you eat protein, like don't combine protein and carbs in the same meal. And if you follow just like some simple principles, you can make drastic improvements with only, what I would consider like a 2 millimeter change from what you're currently doing.
Yeah. And the question, what's your current regime?
What's that?
What is your current regime? When you're fasting, what's your window?
I mean, yeah. So I'm generally, I'll generally stop eating probably also around like 7-8, like when I'm done with dinner. That's generally when I'm done, eating for the day. And then in the morning, I only have coffee, and then I might, eat something like at 11 or 12. But I'm generally not eating a lot of carbs. And at the same time, it's not that I'm just avoiding carbs. I'm also generally eating healthy. So when I say healthy, to me, that is the unwrapped diet. Okay. What does unwrapped diet mean? Most of the stuff I eat is not packaged foods. It's not packaged cereal. It's not canned foods. It's not packaged stuff. It's chicken, beef, fish, fruits, vegetables, nuts, right? All the stuff that you couldn't package or put on a shelf and let it stay for 3 months. And that's all the stuff that's killing us, and that big corporations are pushing for you to eat because it's super cheap to make and it stays on the shelves a super long time. And it's the, in the US at least, there's a lot of corporate agenda for milk and for, ingredients in foods that make it last a long time. The Farm Bill, we subsidize corn, like all this bad stuff that's really pushed for by big corporations. And so if you avoid a lot of that and shop around the perimeter of your supermarket, right, where you have the produce and the meats and vegetables, you'll you just go with that diet, you'll do a lot better.
Indeed. And what's your current regime?
Well, basically the only kind of diet that I do is I eat when my kids eat dinner. So that's pretty early, usually, finish by 7 p.m. And then in the morning, I just have coffee, and I wake up about 5 a.m. I'm also, morning is my productive time. I was doing bulletproof coffee for a long time, and it just started, I felt like I didn't need it anymore. So now I have coffee with an unsweetened almond milk, and I eat when I get hungry, which is usually 10 or 11 o'clock. What I will say, I was always trying to eat low carb, exercising a lot. I lived in London before moving to Costa Rica, and I was heavier than I am now, but I was maybe a US size, like 4 or 6, still a pretty small size. But I thought about food constantly because I was always restricting. And it was an addiction that I was always thinking about what I was eating. And, I'd be eating a salad, but wishing I had a hamburger. When I moved to Costa Rica, there's not really any junk food here. I mean, there is, but our import taxes are huge, so it's very expensive. So I started eating a lot, just fish, fruits and vegetables, whole foods, but also not restricting myself. So if I did want, a candy bar or a sandwich, then I would eat it. And over that, first year that I was here, I found my addiction to food just died, and I was eating when I was hungry. When I got pregnant, I lost my desire for meat, and I just kind of listened to my body, and I've been vegetarian ever since, which is about 4 years. I'm mostly vegan. Sometimes though, if I'm at a restaurant and there's something that's fish that looks good, I eat it. And I started with bulletproof coffee, not to lose weight, but to clear brain fog. After my second baby, my kids were really close together, and I'd been either nursing or pregnant or both for 4 years straight. And I just couldn't keep a thought in my head. And my friends told me about bulletproof coffee, and I started doing that. And I was like, wait, what? This counts for breakfast? Like, I don't have to worry about eating. Amazing. I think that kind of intermittent fasting, when you have bulletproof coffee, you're getting the fat and calories, so you don't feel hungry. But I think if you're a parent, it is just a really useful thing to miss, one meal, one breakfast. And so the weight loss was an accident. I went maybe in 6 months or something with no exercise, with no change to my diet, from a size 10 US to a size 2. And that was like 3 years ago. And I've kind of been the same size ever since. But my main thing is just to eat whole foods and eat what you want.
Well, we'll get on to the types of food and stuff in a minute, but just want to bring Stephanie in. Sorry, last but not least, Steph, like number 6, 17 minutes in, you finally get to speak. Go on.
Honestly, you guys, taking up all the space. So I've always been crazy. I have done keto, and I was a vegan, and I've juiced for way too long and forgot to have protein for a long time, and all my hair fell out. Like, I have gone to the extremes of like every diet. And in about 2017, I started doing bulletproof. I started following a little bit of David Asprey's jam and added intermittent fasting into my life because I recognized that I had hormone imbalance, and it wasn't diagnosed by a doctor. It was just kind of a hunch. And it really, within 6 months, started regulating my body. I started feeling a lot different. And like you guys were saying, it changed my relationship with food. So I saw food differently. I didn't feel like I needed to eat all the time. And coming from restrictive lifestyles of like counting calories and avoiding burgers and all these things, it was like, I don't even need that much food to be satisfied and alive, which was really interesting considering I was one of those people, I go to bed thinking about what I'm going to eat for breakfast. Like, it's the best part of my day. But the shift in breaking fast versus breakfast, which most people think of as you eat when you wake up, it's really about what you eat when you wake up that changes the mindset of the rest of your day. So I've always found that super interesting when I started fasting, is that if I chose wholesome foods and things that were clean and local and good for me and all these things, it set me up for success to not crave unhealthy items for the rest of the day, and cleared my mind. So now my lifestyle is not to count calories. I intermittent fast depending on what I'm doing and where I'm at. So it's either 16 to 18 hours every day. And if I eat something terrible, or if it's Sunday and I feel like downing a whole pizza, which is totally acceptable to me, then I do a full 24-hour fast to let my body rest and recuperate and kind of remove some of the garbage that I consumed. But that's about it for me. That's what I do on a daily basis.
Well, that's what's going to get. Sorry
to interrupt. I think a lot of this comes down to eating consciously versus eating, mindlessly, right? Like, you could be. I think sometimes it takes a certain moment for some of us to wake up. We may have all had it. I don't know. Some moments, like I'd always been sort of like physically fit, and then it wasn't on my mind for a while, and I gained weight. And then it was 2018. A friend of mine said, "Hey, I'm doing keto. Do you want to do it with me?" And I kind of woke up, right? And I think the end result is like, yeah, I can go eat 3 slices of pizza, but I'm very well aware that like this is not a regular thing, that I'm not doing this every day, that I'm going to go eat this, but tomorrow I'm like back on, right? And I don't allow myself to do that like all the time, right? But that if I make that decision to eat something that's technically not good for me, or that I don't want to eat all the time, like you said, like I'm allowing myself to do it. It's okay. And I think also giving yourself that power makes it easier not to do it most of the time, because like if I really want to, I'm giving myself, I have the power to do it. It's not like I'm putting myself in this super strict thing where like, Anna said, I think, you're like super restrictive, and so you're craving all that stuff, all the addiction, and being conscious and aware. And one thing that like even small changes that I've made. So in January of this year, I stopped using Splenda. I was using Splenda in my coffee all the time, and I knew it wasn't like the best thing for me, all these chemicals and whatever. And I just put a stop to it. And the reason I put a stop to it, and prior to that, I was eating, my wife would buy this like 95% dark chocolate, and I would eat it, and it would be like so bitter, and I couldn't eat it. And a week or two after I stopped the Splenda, suddenly that chocolate became sweet to me, because I stopped this addiction of like sugar. And so things that normally would not taste good to me started tasting good to me, because they had a tiny bit of like a little bit of sweetness to them. And I think one of the things that helped me make that decision to stop using the Splenda was a book by Kamal Ravikant, which is called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. Okay. And I think thinking consciously about like, if I loved myself, would I make this decision? Right. And a lot of us that are, filling ourselves with a lot of shitty food all the time, stop and think and ask yourself that question. And I did that with Splenda, and I said, you know what? If I really love myself, why would I keep putting this chemical in my body? And that's the impetus that I needed to stop, right? And make a different decision. And I think sometimes it's those little shifts in how we think, or the questions we ask ourselves, and being conscious, that allow us to make a permanent, lasting change.
Well, with there's the other thing. Do you know leptin, which is the hunger hormone? So like that's suppressed for me because I've got SIBO, I've got mold, and I've got what is it called, Lyme disease. And so that is, if I was to eat something like bread, that's a domino food. So all day, all I'm going to want to do is eat bread and eat more. And like literally, depending on how my day starts, that's the domino effect. Pasta can do the same thing. Sugar can do the same thing. So even though you want to fight this and mentally say you shouldn't do this, your day can be determined by that, because if you've got leptin suppression, then that, in terms of the hunger hormone, then you're never satisfied. You want to eat more and you want to eat more, but you don't want to get those triggers. So this is where fasting plays a great role as well. Not only does it start to do repairs to the body, but it's going to come back to all of your points that we're going to discuss earlier on, is having the right type of foods is making a difference. I mean, for me now personally, and like I think everyone's kind of mentioned it here. So, you can't just fast and just eat crappy foods, or you can, but you're not going to get the natural benefits from those, right? Because once you come off your fast, have you noticed when you've eaten a big meal and crashed, but it depends on the type of food? For the first time in years, I've now fully gone in farmer's market, go and get steamed vegetables and stuff as well. And that's made a massive difference as well, because I think a lot of people's misconception about fasting is that no, you can literally eat what you want because you're actually eating in a small window, but food, the type of food is going to play a role. So going back to Egle, you've had issues with brain fog and stuff before. When you're fasting, what kind of foods are you eating? Do you like Liran? You're not having any Splenda or any other sugars, and worst case scenario, I think like Diet Coke and stuff as well.
Yeah, the thing is that what I wanted to jump in, you were just on point on saying about, crap food versus trying to fast successfully. This does not work. So if you I think so many people are feeling guilty of not being able to fast because they're going into a fast from the wrong place. They have been consuming a lot of carbs, a lot of added chemicals like sugars, and also people say stevia. They even say that stevia shouldn't be used because still your brain gets a sensation of sweetness from your sensation whatever is going on in your mouth, even though you don't get the calories. So we don't want to do that. If we really want to fast and we don't want to feel like a failure, we don't want to feel hungry and grouchy and thinking about, oh my god, this is a torture, when this is gonna end, then we need to go into a fast from the right place. That means that we need to reduce carbs before we go to the fast. Going from hamburgers and donuts into a fast is going to crush you so bad. You're gonna have headaches, you're gonna have lethargia, you just don't want to live. So don't do that. If you can eat a couple of days as close to keto as possible, like avocado salads and green smoothies, it's gonna be so much easier. And what I want to say, especially to the ladies out there, I've also been a lifelong dieter, and we have so much guilt gathered up from doing different regimes and not being able to stick to those. Fasting is so good for us, and we're going to be successful if we just gradually taking away the carbs before we go to the fast. So that's definitely something I wanted to bring across today.
Egle, do you think people suffer from that lifelong dieting because they have the wrong goal in mind? The goal is not to be healthy, but it's to lose weight. Especially, men too, right? The goal is I want to lose weight, and then once you lose weight, you go back to your old habits because
it's a lifestyle change.
Your goal was to lose weight, not to be healthy, right?
You see, actually, what I really like about entrepreneurship is that that's gonna shift you around. If I'm thinking about me as a woman, am I gonna have more successful business if I'm size 0, or if I'm gonna have more successful business if I'm really clear-minded and my brain works like a rocket? And both of those reasons are super strong reasons to go into trying all sorts of diets. But as I am entrepreneur, I'm only basically relying, I'm the ground zero. I need to create something from here. And if I'm wheelchairing myself with having donuts and having candies and treating myself with sweet bars, I feel I'm not able to perform. And your point on Liran about this, that yes, most people, because of marketing and Instagram and whatsoever, go into this thing and wrong reasons. But we as entrepreneurs, I think we are pushed to go into this in right reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to add is that I see myself as the machine that runs the business. And if the machine that runs the business is damaged, or isn't as physically and mentally sharp as the machine could be, then your business is not going to run as good. If you are tired or addicted to food or all this stuff. So for me, it is also a good motivator to keep the machine running effectively so that the machine can run the business.
Yeah, let me say some hellos to everyone in the feed here. Megla's here, Owen's here also, Yasin, Luca, Karen, Constantine, Tom's here, Adi is here as well, Matt Parker, Luke Knight, Greg Moore, Tiffany's back, hey Tiff, Tony Justice, Christy, Eric Chang, Sophia, Cindy, Mark, Patricia. Just go through some of the comments here. So Catherine says, hello, welcome. And to Anne as well, and everyone, of course, good morning and afternoon. Tiff says good morning. Liran is preaching the truth. When is he not preaching? He's always preaching something. Let's go. Constantine, sorry. Liran is right. You can swing a pendulum too much in one direction. Matt Parker says, hey, guys, unfortunately, I'm married to an alternative therapist, so don't want to get away with much without the backlash. We are a firm believer in the power of hydration and distilled water to purify and move out the move the toxins out. Do you guys keep hydrated when breaking down toxins and fasting? I'll come back to that in a minute. I just want to say hello to everyone else. So Karen, hello there. Owen says 90% plant-based, no dairy, no bread, no alcohol, juice for breakfast, but love a fresh baked chocolate eclair on a Saturday, little cheat meal there. Owen says, who suffers from food hangovers when they pick out and take away, etc.? Definitely Chinese food, MSG. Is it? MSG? Is it?
MSG.
Yeah. That's a killer.
You know, Danny, one of the things he mentions about hangover is I have this like Whoop strap, and some people have, you know, Keep stuff, and it gives you your recovery every day, and it gives you your sleep and all this stuff. And I noticed that if I eat late, or if I do eat carbs, like I'll have a cheat meal or I have sushi or whatever, then my recovery the next day is always lower. Same thing with people. I don't drink, but if you drink wine or whatever, your recovery numbers on the next day, and sometimes having that accountability, either with an accountability partner or an accountability tool, can kind of help shape your behavior also.
Yeah, definitely a night and day difference in eating healthy or not. I'm feeling at my optimal performance when I'm eating healthy and make time to be active. Matt's back here says, I'm with Liran, aspartame and sweeteners are killers in my eyes, which is true. Mild rat poison. I came out with horrific rashes and pinned it down to using stevia leaf-based sweetener or nothing. Like Danny, I think the key to this is everyone is different and we react to things in different ways. We need to find out which is right for us individuals and find a balance. That's true, because like for me, this has all come down to brain fog. For 5 years or so, I've tried everything, every quacky thing under the sun that you would believe or not believe in the attempt to get rid of brain fog. Whereas some people focus on doing fasting purely for weight loss, purely for performance, purely for biohacking. Yeah. So,
Danny, we need another episode on,
like 10.
on you just getting rid of this whole concept that you even have brain fog in the first place.
Okay. So
do you think it's self-fulfilled? Like he has brain fog because he has brain fog?
He's got brain fog and brain fog. Like, fuck that. You don't have brain fog. Like,
you're just you're tired like the rest of us because you do too much every day.
yeah, a separate episode.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be a separate episode for sure. Right, Tiffany, look, hey, brain fog is no joke. This is the thing. This is the common thing, Liran, with when you've never had brain fog, that is a typical response from people. It's the same with the national, NHS here and everything, but it is a real thing.
I'm not saying it's not real. What I'm saying is this concept: don't give pain a voice. The more you put it out, the more you're attracting it.
Oh, I see that point of view, but that's just part of the discussion that we're having. Yes, something that I deal with on a daily basis. And when I'm optimal and eating the right things and balanced, then it's fine. When I don't and I try other things, the brain fog kicks in. And so that's the battle that you have.
Danny, I ran 10 miles in February with Jesse. He ran 100 miles. And he said when he ran 100 miles, he ran with a Navy SEAL who gave him 3 rules. One of those rules was every time I ask you, how do you feel? I don't care if it's a 70th mile. It's I feel outstanding. Yeah. And the reason is he told them as a Navy SEAL, don't give pain a voice. That's what I'm trying to.
Fair enough comment. Right. So let's explain to people what ketones feel like when they kick in. That moment, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you haven't fully gone into ketosis yet, but then suddenly you're sitting at your computer or doing what you're doing, and then boom, that ready glow, or I call it. It's like this thing that just kicks in, that empowering, clear vision, like peripheral vision. I'm trying to put it into words. That feeling you get when the ketones kick in. Kicking off with Stephanie, what would you explain that is like to people that's never done fasting before?
So I hope that everyone on this call has at least worked out really hard at least once, because what it feels like is almost like euphoric and like you're honed in on exactly what you need to be doing and how to get from point A to point B. It's like a post-workout, I'm so happy I've made it to this point kind of feeling, where like mine starts at 6:30. My alarm goes off at 6. I get up at 6:30. I have my bulletproof coffee, or sometimes just black, just depending. And You know, I'm like at my computer and I know exactly what I need to be doing and I feel really clear about it. And the longer I fast, the more energy I get. So it's like the further into ketosis I go, the less I even want to eat because I'm just like driven and moving, and it's like light speed. It's like taking pre-workout and being in the middle of that workout and being like, yes, I feel amazing. It's
But
like
it's
refreshing.
constant for a long period.
It is constant. And honestly, if I eat more than what my body really needs, which isn't as much as we think it is, I lose it. And even if I stay in ketosis, even if it's just like, you know, avocados and eggs and, you know, a couple berries, like if I eat more than that, if I eat like a stack of protein pancakes instead, I lose that energy because my body is now spending all of that brain energy breaking down everything that I ate. So it's a really big balance of just not losing what you have by overeating because you waited so long to eat.
Yeah.
Which is why the coffee is so important.
And I just want to say something really quickly about keto. So I've done keto for like a month and a half and I absolutely hated it because I really like that sort of food, that much fat. I'm not used to eating it that much, like that much cheese and like avocados and like bacon and stuff like that. It really was very it was really hard for me. Like I found like all possible recipes. I've done everything right. Like a lot of my friends did it. I did absolutely the same what they did. They got amazing results. I got nothing because
some people
my
just
body
don't agree
just
with
didn't.
it. Doesn't
like
agree
my
with some
body
people.
just didn't like it. It was absolutely horrible, and I was like in shock that I didn't feel good. Or I mean, I was not doing it only for the body weight, but I was also doing it because I wanted to do something good for my body and like to change the lifestyle and stuff. But keto diet was a completely wrong choice for me and for my body.
Mine was the same. And I'd love to talk on that because just because you hit ketosis by fasting doesn't mean you have to eat a keto diet. And that's a lot of times we like couple them together because a lot of the big, you know, names out there kind of tout both.
Well, if you put together, you can get that extra level, can't you?
You can supercharge it for sure.
Yeah.
But going low carb depletes potassium from your body, and you can get ketoacidosis. And a lot for women, we need carbs more than men do, and everybody's organs need them anyway. So you shouldn't just keto all the time. Yeah, Miss PB&J, like we know.
And also, I hate bulletproof coffee as well because of the coconut oil. I just cannot stand it. So I'm not also a fan of bulletproof coffee either. I think I just did it like one day it was like, okay, 1 sip, second day like 2 sips. So my body gets used to it because that's how I cut sugar like 15 years ago. I don't take 1 gram of sugar in anything I take. Like I don't take any Gala syrups or any Splendas or anything. And I thought I could get used to bullet coffee just, you know, like every day a little bit. But then like after like 10 days, I'm like, I threw up. I remember that. And I was just like, okay, I'm done with bulletproof coffee. So like my body just doesn't, you know, and I would feel like, what's wrong with me? Like everybody seems to be doing it, but it's not working when I'm doing it. So I think a lot of people might have my results, and I don't think something is wrong with these people. I just think that you have to find something which is good for your body, for your organism. And, you know, like we're all individuals, we're all different. So I think that people should definitely listen to their body and just, you know, respond the same way to what their body wants.
I think that's a great point because there's a certain level of cool to, you know, I do bulletproof coffee, right?
Yeah, I'm so not cool.
Hipsters.
Yeah. But I also think that, you know, us as women maybe should take like more advice from women nutritionists and women, like people who are actually doing this, because lots of YouTube content is made by men and, you know, their body responds differently than female bodies. So we just need to seek out women doing this too. Yeah.
And keto.
I think a lot of it is also just listening to yourself. You know, for me, when I started doing the bulletproof, I loved it. And then it started, after about a year, it started feeling heavy for me. And so I stopped and I just went to regular coffee because I wanted to be lighter. You know, I could literally never do a low carb diet. 90% of my diet is carbs. But for me, that doesn't affect me. It doesn't really really affect my weight. But I think a really important step is just on really trying to listen to your body and eat what feels good for you. For me, what changed was when I was pregnant, I found that like my body spoke to me, you know, and kind of told me what I needed. And I got in that habit of really listening to it instead of like what my brain is telling me, listening, you know, from the inside. And I think another benefit of fasting is that your stomach shrinks, so your portions are smaller. I live in a really hot place. What I have discovered is I really hate to be full because I think I get like sweaty, and I just find it physically as well as mentally uncomfortable. So even when I go traveling, I'll get really excited. Like when we went to Mexico, Stephanie was there in February, I'll be like, man, I'm going to smash some tacos for lunch. And I eat one and I'm like, you know what? I'm full. And I know if I keep going, I'm just going to take myself to an uncomfortable place. But when you, I think, and when you eat in smaller portions, you know, kind of more throughout the day, then it's like, well, if I eat something bad, I'm not going to lie. I had a microwave popcorn for dinner and M&Ms last night because I didn't have anything else at my house and it was raining. But I ate like half a pack of M&Ms and about a little bit less half the popcorn because then I was just full and I'm like, okay, I'm full. Like I don't binge anymore.
But and
so I think it's really just, you got to listen to yourself and not all of the, no, I can't eat this. If I say, no, I can't eat bread, or I did a juice fast before I went on an ayahuasca retreat, I was dying to chew, like dying, because somebody wasn't hungry, but I said to myself, no, you don't get food. And all I wanted was the food.
But, you know, Danny, I think this comes down to also like eating for pleasure versus eating for nutrition, right? Eating to satisfy, you know, eating
boredom as well.
Yeah, boredom, eating to satisfy.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Something other than nutrition, right? Like, you know, yeah, like why are you eating at the moment you're eating? Is it because you're hungry and you need nutrition, or are you eating for pleasure? Which again, I think is okay.
I think a lot of people eat out of habit because they go, all right, it's 12 lunchtime, it's 8 a.m, it's breakfast, it's 5 p.m, it's dinner. They don't go, am I hungry? Let me have a think about this. Is my belly grumbling? Do I feel low in energy? They don't think that. They just go, it's dinner time, it's breakfast time, it's lunchtime.
That's why they're watching this, right? Because this gets you thinking, and this gets you thinking about like, why am I eating, or like questioning some of those things. And am I eating for pleasure to satisfy some need that I have, right? Or, you know, what pain in my life and am I sort of hiding in this comfort of food? And we eat emotionally, right? And all those things. And again, I think it's okay. I think it's okay to do that sometimes. You just think if you're conscious and aware of it, you're going to be much more empowered not to do it all the time than if you are, you know, eating like you're asleep.
Yeah.
And also on that, Liran, are you eating because you're actually thirsty? That's always something to think about.
Oh yeah, that's always.
Are you hydrated?
Whenever you're hungry, have a glass of water, and then you'll see where you're.
But like coming back to ketones, that's like another huge motivation to try fasting, that next to giving you an extra boost for your brain, it just, most people, I guess, even, men or women, they've tried some kind of eating regime and they most probably have failed, and they most probably have felt like so hungry and so grouchy about it. But if you do fasting and if you, try to take most sugars out from your diet, then going to fast is actually going to be natural. I have moments when I feel like, okay, like it's lunchtime, but it's not going to happen because I'm not hungry. And I used to be thinking about food 24/7, like so many of us. So like for people out there who constantly think about food, like think about how much time and potentially actually waste thinking about food. Just try fasting to release the brain power from thinking about food, and fasting and going to like lowering your carbs a little bit is going to help you to do that.
Especially, in the quarantine, right? I think a lot of us have changed our habits, or just eating more. We're home, so we're going to the fridge all the time or whatever. Like we don't have that same sort of like set schedule that we had before. And I think a lot of people have gained weight in the quarantine because they're out of their normal kind of routine and they're bored or whatever it is. And, recognizing that and coming out of that is, worthwhile.
Yeah. Matt says, stress eating, I think, is my weakness. Go away from the laptop and eat a biscuit with a coffee was my thing as a break from work. I'm having to wear a mask through lockdown just to protect myself from the food cupboard. But that's it. You do have to wire your mouth shut sometimes because of the boredom. If you're not getting out and about, and if you lose that level of exercise, that regular thing that you do is suddenly now to be locked indoors. Go back to weather and maybe the big role it played. Like you've lived in London, right? The weather can pissing down with rain. What are you going to do? You're bored. You eat. You go to the pub and stuff like that. Okay. But if you're in on holiday or in a nice country, you eat salads and you want to eat the right type of food, and like you said, you want to keep it as light as possible and have a lighter lunch. But obviously when you're in the weather's bad, you're not getting that vitamin D and everything else, you go, oh no, that pizza's all right, or that burger's good, and the portion sizes get bigger. Is Egle, the weather's good where you are. Do you find that your eating habits change as the sun comes out and as the sun goes down, or whether it's snowing or raining?
I wanted to completely oppose you guys. If anybody says like quarantine has made you gain weight, no, it didn't happen to me. And I used to be like so troubled with my, I have like genes not working with me all the time, like mostly. And quarantine, actually, I managed to turn that around because now I have this extra hour. I could actually go to the walks. I could, on the lunchtime, I had challenges with my friends to like have as many workouts per day as possible, do different workouts, we were counting kilometers during the quarantine. And one tip that I actually did, like I am not buying biscuits to my home. Like if I have a biscuit at home, I'm gonna eat it. Yeah. So all you find from my fridge is basically green stuff, mushrooms, avocados, almond milk. You're not gonna find anything. So like if I'm craving for carbs, like I need to make myself something. Like I'm gonna put half a banana to my green smoothie and that's gonna do it. I don't have a bag of biscuits to go to. And I actually lost weight while I'm doing all the quarantine because I was moving more and I was eating healthier because I couldn't go to cafeterias and my fridge did not have anything unhealthy in it.
And I think life is a game of perspective, right? If you can have one perspective, like, man, the quarantine, I got an extra hour, I can work out, or I can eat better because I'm cooking at home and I can eat all the best foods because I'm not going out to restaurants. Or you can have the perspective of, oh, I can't go to the gym, or I can only, whatever, right? Like it all comes down to the meaning and the perspective that you're going to give to something about the situation. And if you're going to, Danny, you bring up the environment, we're like, yeah, I love it when the weather is great in New York and my mood is better. But at the same time, like I'm in control of my mood. I'm in control of my diet. I'm in control of my health, not the environment, not what's happening in the outside world, not the external. And if you take that sort of philosophy, then no, you're, screw that. Your environment's not going to control your health. Like you're in control.
Yeah. If you're in good health, of course, like yourself, you're in tip-top condition.
Yeah.
But if you've got autoimmune diseases and stuff like that, it's going to be different.
Even if you're not, yes, but you know what? But your environment, you are going to control as good as health as you can be. So
no, you do. You do as much self-control with what you had to hand. What I'm saying is, if you're in good health versus not in good health, your reason, like I'm maybe not in good health, is because how I've treated my health. The reason you're in good health is because you've looked after your health. So I have to take responsibility and accountability for that, which I do.
That's in your mind, Danny, that you're not in good health. Compare that to somebody that's on their deathbed. You're in great health.
Oh, of course. There's always perspective there. Yeah. Fucking hell. He's getting busy on me today, isn't he? Christ, go on.
I won't let you beat yourself up.
Huh? You won't let me beat myself. No, you'll do it for me, won't you? You're picking on me today. Look, he's picking on me. Girls, can you have a little word? He's starting on me today.
I think Egle made a really good point, about, well, if I have a biscuit, I'm going to eat it. That's definitely true as well. If I have a box of cookies, I'm not going to have one, I'm going to have a lot. And I think if you're disciplined, now is a great time. It's true to be disciplined because you can't go to the grocery store. People aren't going to the grocery store every day. And you're not eating out, or you're not eating out as much. So when you go to the grocery store, if you buy food that is good for you, like eat before you go, and then you go and you buy food that is good for you because you're not acting out of craving at that moment. And you don't buy packaged foods. That's kind of also what happens with me. I don't buy stuff that's packaged because if my kids see it, they'll want to eat it. And so for me, if I get hungry, I have to make something. And I'm not going to waste my time making something that's like bad for me at home. I'm going to well, I might make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's quick. But otherwise, I'm going to make something pretty healthy. I don't have a bag of chips that I can just go to. Now, if it's like, I'm having a moment or it's Saturday night and I don't have anywhere to go, so I'm going to have a movie night at home, like, yeah, I'll go and have some popcorn or a bag of chips, and like, that's cool, as long as it's not every day. But I think if you set yourself up for success when you go to the grocery store, you're all good. If you're buying bags of chips and cookies, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And honestly, go ahead.
No, Stephanie, go on, because you haven't had much airtime. Go on, you go.
Fine. What I was going to say is that I grocery shop fasted always because I don't eat until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, but I buy the same things every.
I would buy everything.
But no, it's like you get your mushrooms, you get your mixed greens, you get your asparagus, you get whatever is like in season for the time. You don't veer off of the course of things that you always buy. It doesn't matter if you're hungry or not. Don't buy the shit and you won't eat it. Just get what you know you need to have in your home, and then
which comes to the point about, well, I can't eat organic or I can't eat healthy because it's more expensive. I just went to the farmer's market earlier on today, spent £26, right? That's the vegetables all for the week. Yeah. We steam the vegetable. So after this call now, I'll go and have my dinner in 12 minutes time. So any excuses that you can't do this and you can't do that and steaming your food, like let's just say you have some fish or whatever with it, you can do that 12 to 15 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes prep. But everyone has an excuse that they can't eat healthy because it's too expensive, which is utter garbage.
Well, excuses are easier than effort. Yeah. We all know that.
Yeah.
Roman says, yes, stick to your discipline. Owen says, and it's jam, not jelly. Jelly comes out the fridge, whatever that means. And Matt says, Egle, full respect for your focus. Good point too, Jill. Don't buy rubbish, then the temptation is not there.
I just want to say something about discipline, because this is something I'm actually struggling with a lot. I can have discipline when I'm at home. And when, it's raining, it's sunny, it's fine, because I know like this is it, like for a month and a half, as long as I'm at home, I'm going to do this and it's going to be fine. But as soon as I step my foot on that plane and I go to another country and I travel often because all of these conferences we all attend and speak at, that really kind of messes up my discipline the whole time. And when I'm in a new country I've never been to, I want to try their local food. I want to try their specialties. I don't want to go like eat like whatever I eat at home at breakfast, because I'm just like I really want to try whatever they can offer me. I also like to go out and have a drink, and sometimes I really don't have discipline and that pisses me off, but I'm human, and I really I'm listening to all of your stories, and if you really guys can stick to your discipline routines for such a long time, that's just amazing, because I have like this, like my life is like this, this is constantly happening to me all the time.
Yeah.
When
Leo,
you travel,
that's
really
look
hard.
at his eyes. Look at Liran. He'll travel and he'll eat a lettuce leaf and he'll be fine. And he'll work out with single finger press ups in the hotel room and stuff.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean,
forget about it.
I found it when I did keto and still low carb and travel, that it's not that difficult. Like I can get the burger at the place without the bun. I can get the salad with chicken, and I can keep to my diet. I think it comes back to Jana, reasons. Your reasons why you're doing it, and at the same time allowing yourself to make that exception. The travel, if it's once a month or once every 2 months, is the exception to the rule of what you're doing on a regular basis. And when I went to Amsterdam to speak, I went to get the fries at the best place, because it's a one-time opportunity to try something, but I'm very well aware that it's a one time and it's one day, and then I'm back to my.
And when you're in Amsterdam, the weed's good as well. So by the time you're stoned,
when you're in Amsterdam,
and you want the munchies, and then you're off to the chips,
and that's okay. Like it's okay, it's okay to live a little too, and as long as that is outside of my regular routine. And then I think there's other things you could do to keep yourself accountable, like keeping a food journal could be helpful for some people. Writing down everything you eat, you're going to make more conscious decisions about what you're doing. I think it's okay to allow yourself exceptions to the rule. Otherwise, you'll never be able to really keep something if you keep yourself so boxed into something.
Yeah, I think the biggest
Guys,
Totally.
we also need like an experience how it feels like your leptin's not kicking in. Like we need this experience, so you need polarization to make your decisions. If if the leptins are not kicking in and you're eating the third bag of chips and you're actually conscious about it, you actually can understand what's happening. You need to first become conscious about it, and we need to go off the path to become conscious enough times that we choose to be consciously not choosing those foods.
Guys, we're gonna wrap here shortly. I was gonna say we'll do a part 2. I'm just trying to keep these to the hour mark. But
Danny, one thing to add quickly here is when you're eating, ask yourself, how am I going to feel about this now, and how am I going to feel about this tomorrow? And I think having that thought process of Ray Dalio talks about this: first order consequences, second order consequences, right? Like, and I think there's. We've spoken about this on the show. Like, there's shallow happy, which is eating the ice cream, and there's deep happy, which is the feeling you get for not eating the ice cream. And being proud and looking at the end of the day, being proud of yourself, like having that sort of mindset and that as far as your awareness will make it a lot easier to kind of do the things that you actually want to do. And if you're still eating the potato chips, then you value that more than you value the other stuff. Just be honest with yourself and recognize that I value feeling good from the potato chips more than I do on my health. And if you are, then maybe that's good for you.
That's it. Right. Any final words quickly from Egle? What anything you want to part with?
Yes. Just last note I wanted to make: you are going to be needing less sleep if you do fast, because the autophagy is going to take care of some of the garbage in your system. So I think that would be like a third big reason to really go fasting, because you're actually going to have more time to work on whatever is passionate for you. Yeah.
Jana?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think that your sleep quality is definitely going to be better, and that's actually what helps a lot when doing like the fasting. I think it's like the best way to go, and it's like very a long-term thing. I know people who have been doing that for a couple of years. They're just like, they change their lifestyle and even habits into just, fasting. That's just like their regular way of living.
Cool. Anne? Any final?
Yeah, going on what Jana said, I definitely think that you want to find something that's going to be your regular way of being. So for me, an early dinner and not having breakfast, that just fits with me. And so like when I travel, I stick to that. I still don't have breakfast when I'm traveling, but I'll have like, really good coffee. But then, if I do too, I love trying local food, but I just stop when I'm hungry because that's the natural part of me. So I'll try little bits of things. And then when I'm hungry, I say, okay, I'm full. And if I've been drinking with Danny
when we're
China all night, I drink a little water and take an adrenal repair supplement before bed.
not just that. When we're out on the road, like the reason we don't have breakfast is because that's the time we arrive back. Is breakfast time. Stephanie?
If I had, that's the truth. That's me with Leiden. It's like the worst. So I would say it to anyone who is going to hang up on this call and be like, yeah, I'm going to try this. Start at like 12 hours up into 14 and up into 16. Don't go all in all at once because you're just going to be hungry and then you're going to be crabby and you'll be like, these people are crazy. But just start off slow and add to it, stack some supplements on it, some CoQ10 for your brain, and it'll be all good. I think it's an essential part of life to change our relationships with food, but to not go to the extremes like entrepreneurs do. If you do want to give it a try, just so that you love it like we do.
Cool. Well, we'll do this again next Sunday if everyone's available, because I think we need to explore more on the food side, especially going into keto, paleo, bulletproof diets. There's so many other things to dip into. So, guys, thank you for joining us today. It was a pretty good debate. Liran's been beating me up. I'm going to have to have a little chat with him.
Only because I love you.
Only because you love me. I love you too. Right, 59 minutes. I want to upload this tomorrow to Instagram TV. That's why I'm trying to keep it under the 1 hour mark. Right, guys, going to sign off. I'll see you again tomorrow, which is Monday, 4 p.m. BST. Lovely to see you all. See you all again next week, guys. See you tomorrow. Stay home, stay safe. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.